Many people in the black sector of social media are talking about Pan-Africanism and if it is a failed concept. We have brothers like Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, who believes it is the best concept, brothers like Dynasty Amir, Afro Think Tank, and then you have brothers like Pharaoh Said That, who believe that Pan-Africanism is pretty much one-sided, right? But now we talk about those Pan-Africanism ideologies as people or ideas as people who are from North America. Most of us are from the United States, and the Pan-Africanism that we see comes from the perspective of somebody in the diaspora trying to link back up on the continent. But now, my question today is, does Pan-Africanism exist in Africa? That's the question that I want to talk about. A lot of times when you hear Pan-Africanism flourishing, you hear it much so in the diaspora. In America, Canada, you see a lot of events going on. You see a lot of brothers and sisters mingling together. You see a lot of brothers doing business. African Americans, Nigerian Americans, people from the Caribbean. You see them forming relationships and things like that. That might lead into something else. But now, what about Pan-Africanism as a concept in Africa? How does it work? Is it being hindered by tribalism? Now, I watched this video on TikTok from a young lady who was from South Africa. And she is talking about her experience being in Nigeria. And I want to play the video, and then I want to come back and kind of give some insight to it.
So I've been in Nigeria for like a week and a half now. And I've been meaning to make videos about almost everything. But I think the one thing that stands out for me is the reception here. I am amazed at the warmth that I have received ever since I got to this country. It even almost kind of makes me feel guilty, because I know that Nigerians in South Africa don't receive this kind of reception. Immediately people know that you're Nigerian, they become suspicious, they even don't give you the sort of decency. Immediately they know you're Nigerian. The way foreigners are treated in South Africa it's embarrassing. Especially when you go out to other countries as a South African and you realize people actually treat you like a guest, even when you're not their guest. South Africans need to travel more. South Africans need to go to other countries, especially African countries, to see how people are warm, welcoming in their own countries. And I'm not gonna say that there's not a lot of things that is wrong in this country. There's a lot, right? And there's a lot of things that are wrong in South Africa too. But it's the people. It's the reception you get. It's amazing. South Africans can learn a lot from traveling. Get out of your country. I feel like South Africa is fast becoming the United States of the world. It's become the United States of African countries, feeling like, it's the best thing after sliced cake. Because the way we treat other Africans in South Africa is embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. When I got here, did not expect that people would be so respectful, so welcoming, so warm, so receptive. And when I saw that, I'm like, I was embarrassed, honestly, on behalf of all South Africans. I know that not all South Africans are xenophobic. I'm not xenophobic, but I know a large majority are. We can do better.
So guys, you heard that particular spiel. So this young woman went to Nigeria and she felt very much so welcomed. It seems like she's having a good time there. But she can also admit that the people coming into South Africa who are Nigerian are, that they don't get the same treatment, right? They are looked down upon. They are not treated with the same level of respect. And I've even noticed that Black Without Borders or Black with No Borders, that was a documentary done about almost 30 years ago. You had African Americans going to South Africa and they were facing some similar issues as being some of the upper class elite people. But now, what are we talking about? Does Pan-Africanism exist in Africa? I think that it mostly, from what I can see, exists in the diaspora. Pan-Africanism is much more of a diasporan concept because I was with Wode Maya. This is not everybody, right? A lot of people in Africa are working together to try to do things. But I remember 2018, me and Wode Maya were in Kenya. And we went into the M-Pesa store, and we were trying to send some money to the person that we were staying with. We were staying with somebody in the Westlands at an apartment for about $70 a night. But the person wanted this particular payment in Kenyan shillings. So now Wode Maya was asking people for help. Like, hey, we want to send this money. We don't have an M-Pesa registered card. Can you help us send this money? And the first thing people started saying in Kenya, well, where are you from? And he said Ghana. And they thought he was lying, and they thought that they meant Nigerians, right? So they didn't want to help him as a West African. And you see a lot of situations going on. Brother Zach Mikwesa, he talked about all of the issues he has traveling throughout Africa, that, he is typically disrespected. And he's a guy with a big platform, and he talked about he has over 773,000 subscribers, on YouTube, but yet he feels that when he's in places, he's not getting any love. People are not, sometimes people are not respecting him. So now, how can Pan-Africanism grow when there are issues that can, be dealing with, number one, tribalism in certain aspects, and we know tribalism has been there for many years. And also what we're dealing with is, looking down on the next group. Now, obviously we know about, the Black American versus, Nigerian American or Africans, that kind of thing, or in London, the Jamaicans versus the Africans. But that seems to be minute in comparisons to what you see, let's say in Nigeria with certain tribes, or Nigeria versus Ghana, or South Africa versus everybody that's in their country, and so on and so forth. I believe that in order for Pan-Africanism to work, then we need the place where it's supposed to work the best to actually see some efforts there. And that is in Africa, right? And you got to look for things that countries are giving each other a permanent interest to do. Let's look at the African Free Trade Agreement. The African Free Trade Agreement still, from my understanding, has not really occurred. All right. And I think for brothers and sisters to really start to appreciate each other on the continent of Africa, we need to give each other a permanent interest as to why we should deal with each other. And that's what I'm not really seeing. I'm not really seeing that effort there. So you're seeing people look down on each other, and the Pan-Africanism, which is that we're all one Africa. We should try to help each other. We should try to develop our continent. That idea is not really so much, I think, in Africa as it is outside of Africa. It's a big concept in the diaspora. But when I'm in Africa, I'm not necessarily really seeing that, right? I'm just seeing the average, African person that's looking to try to make it through their day, and not really worried about what's going on amongst the other countries. They're trying to fight corruption in their country. But now, in order for Pan-Africanism to work, Africa needs to lead us in that light. And not just the people. It comes from the leadership. It comes from the African Union. It comes from, certain trade blocs, the ECOWAS region. It comes from the East African region, which I think is doing a remarkable job. Shout out to Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. I think they're really taking things to the next level here. The East African community is doing, I think, in comparison to what I see with ECOWAS doing, I think is doing an amazing job. But it still should be more, right? And Pan-Africanism cannot exist if it's not being taught how to respect people and how to respect others on the continent of Africa. But guys, what do you think? Am I wrong? I know a lot of times you guys don't like these controversial takes, but comment below. Let me know what you think. And as you know, keep it real, King Ghana forever. We're out.